Hello guys, good morning. Welcome to the channel Automation Testing 1.
Hello guys. So today we are going to see about date picker. Means like how do you use Selenium to select a date. Okay. So for this example, we are going to see three different kinds of date formats. So the first one is simple date picker. If you see here, if I select this box, I'll get this date widget. So in this, how you select the dates, you have to click previous or next and select the dates. So how do we achieve it in Selenium, that we are going to see. And the second which we are going to see is icon trigger. Means like this won't trigger by clicking the text box. Instead you have to click on this icon. And the widget remains the same. Means like the same way. Previous, if you want, you have to click on previous, and next if you want, you have to click on next. Okay. And the third type of date is drop down date picker. So if you see here, months and years you have to select via drop down, and the dates you can select it like this. Okay. So manually we have seen how do we select these dates, because in all the platforms where you have to select the dates, it will be one or the other way. It's a date widget. So you need to go with a date picker. So how are you going to achieve this? Using a Java's inbuilt date class and Selenium. Okay. So the first approach is simple date picker. Means like you have to click on this text box and traverse through dates which you want, and you have to select the value. Okay. Let's get started with the program. It will take some time because like you need to understand the code before running the code. Okay. So most of the things which already I have explained how to launch browsers. If you have not seen, please go and see those. I will give attention to only date parts. Okay. So the first one is you will launch Chrome browser and you will launch this page and it will wait. So up to now you all will be aware. The next thing, if you see in our application, already I have seen it's not in the page, it is inside a frame. If you inspect this, you can see that. If you see here, it's inside this iframe. So you need to make the driver to point the iframe first. So what I did for this, I have created a XPath for all the three iframes which I am going to explain. So all these three has the same class. So what I did is additionally I added this one using a contains class. I am looking for this HTML tag. So for everything it is independent, different. So I use this. Okay. So you have to initialize the frame element. So for the other examples, I kept other two. We'll see it when I come to that example. Okay. So the next one is you have to ask the driver to switch to this particular frame. So it will be switched to this frame. So what is the next step? You need to click on the, for our example, you need to click on this, so that what will happen? Date widget will open. Okay. So for this, so this is the text box XPath. Okay. So what I did, I just created it. This is explicit wait, means like the driver will wait up to the element is enabled, because sometimes to load a page it takes some time. So because of that you will get no such element exception. I don't want that, so I asking the driver to wait for at least 6 seconds. Okay. Now dot click. So what it does is click. Now the actual part starts. Means like now you have to feed a date. So the first thing, like actually I have passed it via strings. In your case you can pass it via Excel or property file. It's up to you to make a decision. So 2nd January 2021. I preferred this format because if you see in our widget, the year is in full name format, month is in full name format. For example, if I want January, it will have full name of January with years. Okay. So for this the format is dd m and y. Please mention this local.english because otherwise this will misbehave. Okay. So the first step is simple date format. It's a Java inbuilt class which used to format the dates in the preferred dates which you want. So what it does is the string which I have passed, it will be converted to dates using a formatter. So formatter.parse dates. Okay. So what exactly will happen? It will format again back to string to dates. So what I'm trying to do is I actually convert that to date and keep so that I will do some manipulation on the date in down. I can show you. So now we have a date. Now if you see, I want day, month and year separately. So I used a splitter on based on space. So what it does, it will give month, day, month and year. Here one more thing you have to make sure, because I passed like 0 2. In real time also in many places they mentioned appending 0 in the day column. But what will happen if you see in the widget, you don't have zeros. So up to 9, if you're passing with zeros, it will fail. So what we have done, for that I have written a function. So what it does is, it remove all the leading zeros from a number and it will return the final one. For example, in our case it is 0 2. So it will write 1 2, sorry. Only 2 will be written. Okay. So this is the function which is, it will take 0 2 and it look for the length, and if there is a 0, just removes and gives the final string. So I used it for this case. So definitely you have to use this to handle this scenario. Otherwise, whenever dates comes before 10, it's going to fail. So that's it. So now we have Monday, month and year. Okay. So what is the next step? So widget is opened. Now what I have to look for means, for example, I want to select, now currently what is the date? Jan 2023. Okay. What will be the default date? Let's see in the date picker. So it will be today's date. Okay. Now in our example, what is the date? It is 2nd April 2022. Sorry, this is not the one. I'm sorry. Getting confused. 2nd Jan 2021. This is the date. Okay. Now in this case, what we have to do, we have to go for Jan 2021. So what I did, I opened a for loop. I have set a limit here because in case if I didn't set a limit, what will happen is, if any text or something is not found in the page, it will go into infinite loop. So for safer side, I set a loop. If you don't want it, you no need to set a loop. But actually it's better to set a loop and get the dates based on it. Okay. And the second step, what we have to do, we have to look for this month and year. See. So what I am doing, I am asking the driver to find this tag. You see here, you can right click and inspect, you can see month tag. Year date become month. If it is October, if it is equal to January and the year is equal to 2021, then stop. Okay. Or else it comes to else loop. So what is the main thing you have to do here? Now you have to check the date which we have given is before or after. If it is before, what you have to do is, you have to click on before. If it is before, you have to click this. If it is after, you have to click this. Okay. As of now, I am comparing only for date before because I am going to feed a before value. In case if you want to check for after, just write a else statement and click on this arrow. Similarly, for example, what I have taken is, this XPath is for previous and we have another XPath for after. Just write XPath based on this next. Okay, that's it. So what will happen now, this will run up to it finds this condition satisfied, if condition. Okay, once it's satisfied, what will happen, it comes to that particular date. For example, now get Jan 21 and clicks on the date. So for that, what we need another XPath. So in runtime, I need to pass the date number, so which we already captured here. Okay, so if you see here, this is my XPath. In the select date and text equal to, just put this. So what will happen is it will point to the particular place and just click. So that's it done. What will happen? Finally the date will be selected in this case. So hope people understood this logic. Means like initialize the formatter and mention the format based on your need, and formatter.parse. It's very important when you convert a string to a dates. Okay, so it is stored here, as I already told you where I'm going to use it. See here, right here, this is my current date and this is date 3. What will happen is today's date. If you initialize date property equal to new date, that date 3 will be assigned with today's date. So it always checks whether the period date is before my today's date. If it is before, it clicks on previous. If it is after, it clicks on next in the date widget. So that's all for the first method, which is simple date picker. That's it. And the second which we are going to see is icon trigger. It is just one small tweak we have to do. What is this? Instead of date pickers, this one, I have to take the image property and click that. That's it. One more thing what you have to do, we know it's a frame, different frame, right? You need to enable that frame in case it comes under icon trigger. And the third one is the default will go to this page when I open the web page. So what you have to do, you have to click on this icon. So for this, if you see here, I have created icon trigger.click. So remaining date selection remains the same from there, because if you see here, once you click, it's the same format, so it's going to follow the same approach. Okay, let's go for the third one, which is drop down. So in this case, if you see, it's a select drop down, for which we are going to use a select class. Okay, select class in Selenium, which if you are not aware, please go and see how to select using select class in Selenium. Okay, so let's jump into the tutorial. So see here, so the first one is it will click on the drop down div. This is same, and you need to find the element. So if you see, this is my frame property. The third one is date picker.click. It remains the same as we discussed in the first one. For this, I have written a separate function. I can show you that. Now this is my date, and the format is ddmmmyy, because here the format is different. If you see here, the format is different, and here if you see, I want it in ddmmmyy format. Okay, if you see here, ddmmmyy. Okay, up to here it remains the same, and you will have year, month and date. Now what we do, using a select class in Selenium, what I am doing, select by visible text, select the month in the drop down, select the visible text, select the year from the drop down, and days remains same. How we achieve it, just pass the day parameter here. So the critical part is you should be aware how to write a good complex XPaths, because if you don't know this XPath, you can't achieve anything from this, because it's a dynamic XPath. If you see in my case, you need to know how to write this, because every time you need to pass the day. It's not a fixed XPath like this case. So if you dot click, what will happen? That's it. So we are done with the explanation of date picker. Okay, now I'll show you how this program works. Okay, so the first one is default one. So for that, I don't need to click anything. So I just selected this, and iframe will be pointing to default one. It sounds good. And the third one is a date picker, that remains the same. and I have to call this function date picker 2. Okay, let's run and see what's going to happen. Let's open the application, clicked it. If you see here, it goes to January 2021 and selected the date. So first is date, first is month, select, second is date, and third one is year. So what is the date which you have given? 2nd January 2021 has been selected. Okay, it's in DMMTDYYY format, it's printed here. Okay, so the first one looks fine. Let's run the second one, which is icon trigger, using icon trigger. Okay, so this is the one which I have to enable, the first one. And once it's enabled, it clicks on the icon, right? You have to click on icon. Before that, we need to enable the frame. So icon trigger, this is my frame, so I need to switch the driver to this frame. Done. And the third one is this guy. You need to click on the image. So the name remains the same, so no change, and the class remains the same. So first it will click on icon trigger, click on the icon, it goes to January 2021 and select the date. So you will understood how to select a date using icon trigger. Now we are going to see about, let's close this, otherwise it will create a confusion. Okay, the third one is drop down trigger. Okay, so I'll come on this and enable this drop down trigger. And the second step is what I told, frame, switch to frame, drop down, so this guy, enable this. And third step is, so this remains the same, now no more images here. And the final one is will enable this function. Right click. So what is the expectation here? I'll show you. So it launches the browser. Click on drop down date picker, April 2023. Okay, so 2nd April 2022, sorry, 2nd April 2022 is the expectation, and 2nd April 2022 has been selected. So that's all about dates. So before that, you should have some good understanding on dates of Java, and second thing is how to write the XPath, and third one is at least basic idea of frames, because in this tutorial I have shown you based on frame how to identify, go to the frame, based on dates how to do a compare. One more interesting part is here is how to compare dates in Java. This is one of the interesting class available in Java. You can use this when you try to compare the dates. Date dot before date, the first date is the date which you want to compare with the second date. Date dot after, if you want to compare after, and date dot equals if you want to compare both the dates are equal. Okay, because most probably what we have to do is we have to try to use the functions already library for which the library is available and the code has been built, instead of start writing a big function to handle this scenario. So similarly, like one day I'll show you how to use many functions and strings in Java which you can utilize instead of doing a function for string manipulation. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you guys, stay tuned, bye.